I want to talk about Kobe Bryant, and I want to talk about Kobe Bryant from 1978 to 2020, and um, I um, I just remember um, in 1978 I was in the gym, and I threw up the basketball and from past half court, and and it went in, and I was shocked that it went in, and and because I had played basketball before, but I really didn't play it that much, and and so I was shocked that it went in. Um, and so um, and so um, let me see, like that. Let me see. And so um, I want to start with Kobe Bryant um, passing away first. Um, I just remember, well, I better start. I think I better start. Again, I threw the basketball up I was in 1978. I was in the gym, and I threw the basketball up past half court, and it went in. And I was shocked that it went in. And that was it. That was it. I didn't think much of it, or I mean, I was shocked that it went in, but I didn't. It was like, okay, that happened, and that was it. That was it. So I thought. So I thought. Um um I'm gonna go. Okay, that was it. But in 2000, I mean 1997, 98, 99, or 2000, I had a dream about Kobe Bryant, and he was on the TV. And I really didn't know why he was there. And I just remember tuning in the dream and seeing him on the TV. And I was like, and I just kept staring at it. I just didn't know why he was there. And on the TV, it was just a picture of him. Like, he wasn't like playing basketball. He wasn't sitting there talking. It was just a picture of him. And I'm sitting there thinking, and and there was no sound to it. Um, and I just remember just kept staring at it, and I didn't know what to make of it. And um, so I was like, well, it it is just a picture of him there, and I don't know, what it really means. all that. And so I just like, I didn't forget about the dream. I just, I didn't really know what it actually means. And, um, and that was in 97, 98, 99, or 2000. It was one of those years. By 2003, Kobe Bryant comes up for sexual assault. Well, let me go back a little bit. Let me go back. And uh, again, I had another dream. I had another dream. And this particular dream, it said African American male who's famous for sexual assault. And it didn't show the person or nothing like that. It just said African American male who's famous. And I was like, okay, I really don't know who that is. I guess maybe in the future it'll tell me or whatever. And so I just put that dream on hold too, because I really didn't know who it was talking about, and I didn't want to speculate and all this old stuff. So I didn't really go with it. I mean, I just like waited. I just put it on the shelf, and if anybody came up for sexual assault, then maybe that's that person, whatever. By 2003, Kobe Bryant comes up for sexual assault, and I said to myself, well, maybe the dream is about him, like that, because again, he fit that description, like, and so I was like, I don't know, I didn't hear about anybody else being up for sexual, African American male who's famous up for sexual assault. So maybe it's Kobe Bryant. And so I just went with him. But I think that that was a mistake. That was an accident, because down the road, here come Bill Cosby up for sexual assault. And I was like, at this particular point, he was, Andrea had brought well, she tried to bring charges in 2006. But then in 2015, oh no, 2014, here come all these women about Bill Cosby. And I was like, wait a minute. I would think Bill Cosby would probably be the one who the dream is really about than Kobe Bryant. Because I really didn't, again, Kobe Bryant was not one of my favorite basketball players or anything like that. So I would go with Bill Cosby, who the dream is about, because uh, uh, Bill Cosby was one of my favorites. Like, and I was like, well, well, maybe it's him Bill Cosby. And I was like, well, I really didn't know which one to pick because both of them fit the description. African American male who's famous up for sexual assault. Both of them was up for sexual assault. So both of them was African American males who's famous up for sexual assault. Kobe Bryant and Bill Cosby. So I had to choose like which one. I mean, I had already picked Kobe Bryant when Kobe Bryant came up for sexual assault, but when Bill Cosby came down the road, I was like, hey, wait a minute. I was like, well, I think Bill Cosby would probably be the one that fit it because he was one of my favorites. And I was like, well, which one is that? And so some say, go back to the dream. Go back. there. Go back and look not just at what it was saying, look in the dream itself. And I realized that it was Bill Cosby. And not only through that, it was um, a show that I seen um, Bill Cosby on the floor model, just like the dream. And it was, I realized that it was Bill Cosby. And so I tried to change it from being Kobe Bryant to Bill Cosby. But the accident or the mistake was made already. And I could not go back and change it. And because I had put Kobe Bryant there already. And if I wanted to change it and put Bill Cosby, I couldn't. And so therefore it was I was stuck with Kobe Bryant. Because if in fact when I had made the accident or the mistake or whatever, I did not know that Kobe Bryant was going to be in an accident. I did not know that. At the time that I chose him, based on the dream. Um, so, and he ends up in an accident. Like, and I was like, was that a premonition? Or, um, was that sort of like a premonition? Unconsciously, I did not know that he was going to die in an accident. Um, and I asked myself, was that a premonition though? Because he ended up dying in an accident. And, you know, because I just remember the day, not the day that Kobe Bryant died, it was um, um, Kobe Bryant had died January the 20th. No, 26th. January 26th, 2020. And I remember I went to Wegmans, and I had before I went shopping, I went into the TV rooms, and sometimes I just scanned the TV just to see what was on there before I went shopping. And for some reason, I seen Kobe Bryant on one of them, and they just kept showing pictures of him, and I was like, is they doing a documentary or of him? Because they just kept showing like pictures of him and stuff like that, and I was like, they must be showing it like a documentary of him, or now by this time Kobe Bryant had already passed. I didn't know it. It was 2 days later when I'm in Wegmans, in the TV room, watching him on TV. At this time, I still don't know that he passed. It was 2 days later that I'm in Wegmans and I'm watching him on TV. And I was like, is they doing a documentary of him or what's going on? I mean, like, why is they, doing a documentary of him? I mean, like, why is they like keep showing pictures of him? I was like, is they doing a documentary of him or, and stuff like that? They just the TV was turned down. It is the TVs and Wegmans are always turned down. You can't hear, and at the bottom of the screen it's always words and stuff like that on certain TVs in there because they got a lot of TVs in there, so it's certain words at the bottom and stuff, and you really can't. I can't really see it because I'm at a distance, so I really don't know what the words are saying. But I'm way across the room, but I just remember seeing pictures of them showing him. And I was like, is they doing a documentary of him or I mean, what's going on? I remember like thinking like, is there anything wrong? Um, so so I so after I saw that, I just went shopping. I went shopping, and I went out the door after I went shopping, and I went out the door to come home. But someone said, "Look in the window and see if Kobe Bryant's still on the TV." And he was, and I was like, and I just knew that something was wrong. And it was just a feeling in me that knew something was wrong with Kobe Bryant. And I I just um uh, um I was like I'm gonna go online at some point. Go online and see if anything is wrong with Kobe Bryant. And when I did, um, it said that Kobe Bryant had passed. And I was like, what? And um and I was like, well, what did he die from? And it was like he died in a helicopter accident or whatever. And there were other people in the helicopter with. I think his daughter was in there and other people was in there. But let me just say this. When knew that, it took me back to the accidental identity thing. Because again, if there was an accidental identity, then and he dies in an accident. I was like, um, and I began to think, was I the cause of that, or was it a premonition, or and stuff like that. And then I remember saying, I said, I wonder if the basketball thing that I saw in 1970, that I did in 1978, does that have anything to do with Kobe Bryant? and and some said go back and look at the year Kobe Bryant was born. And I remember saying I remember thinking like, I know this guy. I don't think he was born in 1978, but go back and check because I knew where I was at when I threw the basketball up at the court. I knew when that was, where I was at, and what year it was and everything. And I was like, I know this guy. I was wondering if he had anything to do with me throwing the basketball up at the court. And it is this guy birth? I mean, was he born in 1978? Because some said go back and look at the year Kobe Bryant was born. And I was like, man, if this guy born in 1978, man, I'm going to, and sure enough, um, he was born in 1978, like that. And I was like, well, what does, what does this mean? I mean, because the, um, me throwing the basketball at the court was in 1978, and Kobe Bryant was born in 1978. And I was like, and I just kept thinking, like, well, does this have anything to do with him? But then I also remembered the dream that I had of Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant on the TV. And I was like, you know what? If I threw the basketball up at the court, past half court, and that is, I think, special in a sense because it went in, and past half court. And I was like, that is amazing in itself because I don't usually make baskets like that. So so I was like, that's special in itself. And then Kobe Bryant is born that year. And then I have a dream about him in 97, 98, 99, or 2000. And by that time, he was in the NBA, as a basketball player too, like that. And I'm like, that's too much of a coincidence. That's too much of a coincidence. And I remember looking up at the dream. I remember the dream part. And I think the dream part was like the um, the TV in the dream Kobe Bryant was on the TV, and the day that I was in Wegmans, it looked the same. It was the same way because um again, when I tuned in to the dream of Kobe Bryant, he was just it was a picture of him. There was no basketball going on. There was no one talking to him. The TV was turned down. And if you look at the Wegmans thing, it was the same way. Kobe Bryant it was showing pictures of him. The TV was turned down. I couldn't see any. there was no one talking to him or nothing. It looked just like the dream. It was just like the dream. Him being on the TV in the dream. The TV in the dream looked like the TV in Wegmans because again, pictures were shown in both. The TV was turned down in both, and 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 I just kept staring at both of them, both of the TVs, and one in a dream and one in Wegmans, and I just kept staring at them because I was like, well, what, I don't understand the one in the dream, and then they just kept showing the one at Wegmans, showing pictures of him, and I really didn't know what to make of it. And both of them, but I think in Wegmans one, it was a feeling that something was wrong. Something I got, especially when I went out, when I got finished shopping and I went out the door and I peeked in the window. Some said peek in the window and see if Kobe Bryant's still on that TV. If he's still on that TV, go online and see is is there something wrong with Kobe Bryant? And it was. By the time that I seen him on the Wegmans TV, Kobe Bryant was dead 2 days already. When I um 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 found out that he was dead, I went back to the apartment and I was thinking about the the accidental identity thing. Um, and then again, I was like, you know, was that a premonition? Was it did I cause it, or was it just a premonition? Um, um, that was to come. Um, like if even if I made an accidental identity thing, the identity may have been wrong, but the accident was right. And because he sure enough was in the accident. Um, I that that he died in an accident. Um, and again, some say go back and look at the year because I remember where I was at when I threw the basketball up at the court. I know when that was, where I was at, what year it was, and everything. And I was like, if this guy been born in 1978, man, I would like, I just, some said, I just know this guy ain't been born in 1978, man. Man, when I went to go check that thing, man, he was born in 1978. And and I was like that was the two things that were in common. When I was in the gym and I threw the basketball up the court, that was 1978. And and Kobe Bryant was born that year. And and then I end up dreaming about him and then he becomes a basketball player. That's too much of a coincidence, man. And so I kind of knew um that that there was something there that 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 I should look at, and I think that again, I think once I threw the basketball up at the court, um, and Kobe was born that same year. And then I end up dreaming about him years later. And when I did have the dream, at that point, Kobe Bryant was already in the NBA. So when I had the dream, I knew who he was. I was like, what Kobe Bryant doing in my dream? Like that. And I think I don't know. I think that that because I threw the basketball, I think that there was some type of um, connection there.